This episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the Buffalonian division of the Cast Horse Podcast Network. A podcast network built by Buffalonians for Buffalonians, featuring the Wings of Blue Cheese podcast and the Buffalonian Podcast, with more shows on the way very soon. Find these shows wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or simply visit our website posted in the episode description. Now, without further ado, let's get into the Bills, Sabres, hot takes, and more of the Buffalonian Podcast. All right. Let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and as always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Lawson. Dom, how you doing? It's Friday. We're recording this on a Friday, at least. We got some Thomas
Friday fun day.
Going. Yeah, Friday fun time. Funky Friday fun time, maybe.
Make an appearance.
Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But that was a little different from the music we've been playing, introing the show. Some Thomas Rhett action tossed in there. Dom, I know you're a fan, right? You're a country music fan.
I know that you and I are a fan. We're going to see if the listeners are a fan after.
Well, we shall see. We've thrown a lot of music in here to start now. So other than that, this last night, there's a reason for it, and we're going to get to that right now. So Thomas Rhett played at KeyBank Center last night. I was there. It was the first time he's ever played at KeyBank, he said. He's only played at Darien Lake, which let's not even get started on that as a venue, but
way different.
Yeah, way different. So it's his stadium home team tour. And I got to say, Buffalo probably is the best home teams. They refer to us as the best fans in the world multiple times, which I was not going to knack at for sure. But you were also there. Where were you earlier in the day yesterday?
I was at the Sabres 3-on-3 tournament.
And where was that at? Was that the Harbor Center?
Harbor Center, yeah.
So roughly in the same vicinity at two very different times a day.
Yep, one at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yours is probably 9 o'clock at night.
Yes, yeah, roughly around there. And two stories have emerged from those both events. So since you had the earlier event, I'll let you cook first. So let's run through what happened to you.
Yeah, so obviously, I work downtown, with my dad at his law firm. So we parked in his normal ramp and walked about 15 minutes in the 90-degree weather down to Harbor Center. And we're going to take the elevator in the parking garage. And we pull up to the elevator, and isn't one Mr. Terry Pagula gets out of his car right next to the elevator. So he must have like this reserved spot, primo parking spot. Yeah, I wonder. My dad thought to himself, why is this guy get like this great spot? And he's like, he owns the team, so I guess
probably an executive spot for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get in the elevator. Well, we didn't realize it was him until we got in. I don't know how to like the doorway to call the elevator. If you've been to
there's like a corridor. Yeah,
a corridor. That's probably the best way to put it. And I was like, this guy looks kind of familiar. The glasses, the white hair, kind of.
That's where we saw Levi's family that one time, right?
Yeah,
that's where you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Well, not in the middle, on the outside one, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we call the elevator and we get in, and my dad talks about my cousin who's visiting from out of town, but. Yeah, it was Terry Pagula, and he was very nice. Like, he was on the phone. He was like, "Hey, give me a second." He was like, he acknowledged us first. He was like, "You guys here to see some young guns?" I was like, "Yeah, we are." And then it's kind of like, and then he went to. It's interesting. Harbor Center. There's we're one spot that's kind of taped off for where Adams, Sean McDermott was there, Kevin Adams, Granado, and obviously Pagula. But yeah, that was the first time. I never felt like being in an elevator, being the combined net worth of the elevator being a couple $2 billion. Never met a billionaire before, so
yeah,
check that one off the bucket list.
Yeah, holy cow, that's nuts. And then Dom texted me that yesterday morning, and I couldn't believe it. I was what a story to come out of there. We just have a habit of running into people. Alex Tuck's mom being one of them, So
Levi's family that you just mentioned.
Yes, yeah, Levi's family in the elevator. Come on, and it's just it's turning into a habit. But then later in the evening, for my birthday, my girlfriend Morgan got me tickets to Thomas Rhett. Her parents work for a company that has a box, so she got a nice free birthday present out of it. You know what I mean? A little something for her too. She's a fan. So we went to Thomas Rhett up in the suites. It was fantastic. One of the best concerts I've been to. So yeah, I'm gonna flash it. I'm wearing the merch right now, right? So when I was leaving to go get the merch from the suite, as one of the openers were on, walking through the hallway, it's a tight hallway, right? Like doors are blocking viewpoints.
Is this the suite hallway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the sweet hall, like just the circle, like the never ending.
Yeah,
it's like a NASCAR track. Yeah.
It is.
You keep turning left or right, whatever way you're
whatever
coming.
direction you're going in, you just had to keep going in that direction.
Yes, exactly. And I'm I'm going back to the elevators to get down to the hundreds, right? To get in line for the booth. So as I'm doing that, I get blindsided, right? I'm walking this way, someone's coming that way. And
T-boned.
Yes, T-bone pretty much, yeah. But not like actually like close to actually T-boning. Didn't actually T-bone. So
no contact was made.
No contact was made with none other than Sabres general manager Kevin Adams. Okay? Like it took me a minute. I looked at him for a half second, didn't know what to say. My girlfriend Morgan like pulled me. I was in a trance. I didn't realize like once I realized what was happening.
Time stood still.
Yeah. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything to him. The most I would have done was given him a handshake and say thank you. You know what I mean? But I was like, it's easier with this family. I'm going to I'll leave him alone. And you're up in the suites. It's supposed to be a nice environment. Like you're not supposed to do any of that. No fanboying, anything like that. So, I go down, get the merch. Got a hat too off to my left here, along with the shirt I'm currently wearing. Then we're walking back up, coming the other way, past our box because I'm not paying attention. Okay, there was free alcohol involved, and I am over 21, so that's how that ended up. But we passed by our box, and who's coming back the other way? Who must have passed his box? Kevin Adams again. Just look at him. I'm like, I can't do anything right now. I was frozen. I was quaking in my boots. Frozen in my tracks, and my girlfriend Morgan had no idea why I was like, until we like sat down, why I was so.
Did you know who it was?
No. She didn't know who it was.
That's what happened to my cousin. My cousin had a conversation with Terry Bagula. Had no idea who he was.
Yeah. She had no idea. She likes watching Sabres games and whatnot, but she's not like how we are, like into the team and all of that, like the inner workings. She doesn't have a sports podcast she has to do every week. So it's like, she didn't know who he was, and I told her when we sat down, I'm like, that's the big man. I was like, that he's making all the team decisions pretty much. Like he picks the draftees and whatnot. Only guy bigger than him's Terry, Big Pagula. So that's. And you met him earlier that day. It's crazy. The whole front office we're meeting in one day, just separately. But yeah, those are our meeting the Sabres front office. That's a new segment. Every time we go to a Sabres game, we're going to try and bump into someone. And maybe I'll shake Adam's hand and say thank you next time for the team he's given us. So, but yeah, I was looking, I was like, oh, we might see the Bills up here. Like they're like, but then I realized I'm like, oh, they're not even here anymore. They're all Josh Allen's with Haley Steinfeld. Did you see that TMZ post yesterday? Smooching in the pool, like there's no way they're gonna be there. I got texted that in the middle of the concert yesterday. I couldn't even see it because I was, no service up there. But yeah, meeting the Sabres front office. That's a new segment here on the Buffalonian podcast. So, next season when we hit some games, we'll have to see who we bump into next. We got to keep a list. Tuck's mom, Levi's family, Terry Pagula, and Kevin Adams. I don't know why I blanked on my own from last night.
No, I was like, that's the most prominent one.
Yeah, and Kevin Adams. So who's next on the list? Who do you think we're trying to hit next? I want to meet Middlestad's parents next, if he's still on the squad. I think that's the next tier up.
I would just like to run into a player.
I know, yeah. We'd have to stay later and like kind of mingle.
We nearly did the one time when we watched Hair Cake in the car.
Oh my god, yeah, we were watching them all get in their cars. Don't even mention Hair Cake. The listeners don't even want to even search what that is. Please do not. I beg of you. No mention of Hair Cake. But yeah, we were sitting in traffic because who was driving? Was it your brother?
Might have been,
or was it?
Might have been Mike.
I think it was Mike, and I think Mike was driving. And
well, if Mike was.
I think it was Mike driving because
I don't remember it being in the Jeep. I remember it being in
we were in the Subaru. So
the orange Subaru that Mike drives.
Yes, the orange Subaru that Mike drives, the one he likes to take to Skajakwita. He took the other way out of the Harbor Center parking lot this time, and then we got stuck in this loop, and we saw all the players getting in their cars and getting out of the parking lot. So could have gotten out, really, done a Chinese fire drill.
I don't even remember what way we. It was, you know what? 100% was Mike because we went some random way that I don't even know.
Who thought would be faster, and it didn't turn out to be. So I mean, it's like taking the Skajakwita to anything but Buff State or Delaware. I mean that or Canisius, like that's really it. But
see you, baby.
Yeah, Canisius University. Yeah, but yeah, that's our little spiel on meeting the Sabres. There's no Bills talk for the day. I mean, we'll save our rankings for when.
You somehow still find a way to mention Josh Allen in the.
I guess that's the only thing, but I don't want to be like TMZ. I don't want to be you know what I mean. I don't want to be like that. Just whistleblowing things. I will say I did see some photos. Hang on, I did screenshot them.
Oh my god!
I was gonna
be like TMZ, but
if you could see, look at that, Josh and Haley.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'll screenshot and make edits to their kiss.
Yeah, I'll repost it on a burner account. Bills quarterback Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld seem to be getting pretty serious. ... Eye emoji. They're taking their romance international. So I guess they're international. And
never been to Mexico, so.
And then someone comments, well, one is a superhero and the other is a great actress. Perfect match, even though Haley's
Is Kate Bishop considered a superhero, or is
technically they're all considered superheroes, I guess. But
yeah, I guess it's true.
Heroes, you know,
like Hawkeye. It's like they don't have superhero ability. I don't know. I
guess
abilities.
Technically,
honestly, that's a good. I mean, like I guess Black Widow's a superhero. Like I'm not.
Oh god,
Hawkeye superhero.
They should have just ended her story with Endgame. That next movie did not need to be made, but. Well, that's a whole nother. We're you know what? We'll toss it out there.
We got to segue back into Sabres.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
We want to talk about the Bills. Now
we're going into. Yeah, Dom and I can go down the rabbit hole on Star Wars and Marvel, but we choose to stick to sports. So we're gonna get back to some Sabres, and you know we haven't chatted since the draft, and
we talked draft day.
Yeah, we talked draft day as the first couple picks happened. Right, that's when we were wrapping up.
I believe they were.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Zach Benson. Is his name Zachary? Like Zachary Benson is a Buffalo Sabre. What were your thoughts when you saw
his first name now to me is just Oi.
Oi?
from Oi Benson from Riddler Show.
Oh, yeah. God, you're about to open up another wormhole. Let's dial into the
that's what makes us though. So
yeah,
I mean Zach Benson, obviously an elite talent. I think a lot of people thought it was one of the steals of the draft, top 5 talent. Only I believe he's 5'10". I don't think he's 5'10". I believe. I don't think he's 5'9". But he's under 6 foot, and it's a big reason why he fell. It's interesting. He has the second best like junior production before the draft of anyone in WHL history, other than Connor McDavid, who just went first overall this year. So I think that better than Dylan Cousins, better than Matt Savoy, better than some of the other, top players, top NHL players that were drafted out of the WHL. Zach Benson topped them in production. So I honestly think he's a lot of people are saying he is better than Matt Savoy coming out of in his draft year, which I don't really doubt. But it's a very exciting pick. I think it's a pick that definitely were sweating it out a little bit because he was kind of, they were solid players other than Benson around at 13, but he was like the cream of the crop. And when it got down to like 11 and 12, I was like, all right, don't say his name and we're good. Obviously, it seemed like the Sabres, we talked about on the pod on Wednesday is that they might trade up from 11, to 11 with Vancouver. I remember they went to break and the broadcast was like, oh yeah, Kevin Adams talking to the Canucks general manager at 11. And I was like, oh man, maybe we're going to come back. Twitter was kind of blowing up. I was like, man, we're going to get a trade here. And nothing happened. I mean, it still worked out. I mean, we talked about it last week about the NFL draft versus the NHL draft. And I believe this NHL draft showed by the NFL draft is just a far superior product is because there were 0 trades and no really, I mean, it's just a bad product. Like all the teams coming up saying the exact same stuff about thanking the host city, congratulating the Vegas Golden Knights on winning the Stanley Cup. Everyone just got to do what my boy Kevin Adams does. Goes up there, says the Buffalo Sabres proud to select from blah, blah, blah league Zach Benson. You know what I mean? Like that's how you gotta do it.
Keep it simple, stupid. That's all you gotta say.
You don't want to be like Montreal and forget who the heck you drafted.
That was bad. That was a bad look. I mean, would I be the one to do that? Absolutely, but that was a bad look. I just spaced out on my own story. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like how does that happen?
Yeah. Kevin, who?
Yeah, yeah. But I think it was a good pick. Like you said, he fell. I'm happy to grab him. I saw videos of their what is the like the exact name for what they're doing? The rookie camp or like what is it? Development camp?
Yep, development camp.
Okay, so I saw videos of that, and someone was saying this is my home rink in the Harbor Center where I played for Junior Sabres. Who is that?
That was a different player, but I know who
different player. It wasn't Benson.
Oh,
yeah.
You know who it was? It was Gavin McCarthy, who was the third round pick.
He was like 67. I think that was he's like, this is my home number too, or something like that.
86, I want to say.
Maybe 86.
He was a solid pick at 86 in the third round. I think their second round pick of Maxim Stroback or whatever, how you say his name. He's a solid right shot defensive prospect. I think the Wahlberg, the 39th overall pick, the guy that they were trying to trade up for apparently back in the first round. That pick was kind of hit or miss. He was huge I saw him in person. He is all a bit of 6'3", and he is a massive human being. He just matters if he can fit in the NHL level, and it also matters how big really his ceiling is, because if his ceiling is really being a bottom six center, that's kind of a pick at 39. But I'm just glad they didn't trade up for him. Again, another reason why the NFL draft is for Spear. If people want to trade back up into the first round of the NFL draft, there would be plenty of takers. NHL, for every reason, no one does it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It just, I don't know, it's not a lot of intrigue. But I'm surprised the Sabres, make both their second round selections, make their first round selection, make their third round selection. Actually, heck, make all their draft picks. Last year had 3 first round picks, made all 3 first round picks. I mean, I know they moved a second round pick this year in the Jordan Greenway deal at the deadline, but thinking going into draft day, thinking that they wouldn't be selecting all their picks and they might move one for a player on the roster. I mean, the cabinets are as full as they can, and it's starting to become a situation, Joe, where the cabinets are starting to overflow a little bit. And yeah, maybe they could catch a cup or two falling, but soon some heavy objects are going to fall, and they're just going to shatter.
No, it's like a Tupperware cabinet. It's about to come crumbling down. You're just throwing the lids and stuff all over the place. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we're looking at here. I mean, they have. Like, I think that's the perfect analogy. I don't think I can really speak anything else on it. Like you're doing the what's the gymnast routine, like grabbing one with your arm, catching one with your neck. Like you're catching these little things coming down, but it's all gonna come crumbling down at one point. The avalanche is coming, not Colorado, but the avalanche is coming.
I mean, at one point or another, you have to move there's not enough spots for all of them. And sometimes you got to move some of these prospects for real players right now. And
I mean, you'll remember, think back a couple years ago, we talked about this on the first ever edition of this podcast, and I had some choice words to say about Vinny Hinostroza at that point in time. I think your words were, when are we going to start oh, come on. I have it on the tip of my tongue. When are we going to start? Come on. I can't.
When are we going to start giving prospects the respect of the ice
they're
time
playing
that
well.
If they're playing well, they deserve to be playing high. Yes. It was Jack Quinn and JJ Peterka who were both playing very well, and they didn't have a spot on that. They weren't getting NHL games because Vinny Hinostroza, who's now signed in Pittsburgh, so it shows you he wasn't a part of the guy's staying future, and he never was going to be the present or the future. So yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit on that. It's also a situation where now with Quinn and Peterka graduating to the NHL level, you just don't have as much forward spots, because you still have like the top line, which is a very good top line. You have Dylan Cousins at 6. Middlestat proved good enough where he's 7. You have Krebs. He's got to be in your lineup. You just signed Oposo and Gergensons. That's 10. I know I'm blanking on probably. I mean, you have Olsen, but I mean, at this point, it's like for Yuri Kulik, who had a really good AHL rookie year, it's like, I don't know how. I mean, he's probably the guy that's closest to being NHL ready. I don't think Savoy's close. I should say close, but I think he's a year away at least. So people thinking that Matt Savoy is going to make that. I don't see that happening. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying he was bad in the AHL playoffs, but it showed that him and Kulik, I think, are on 2 different parts of the journey right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And while I think Savoy still has that potential to have a higher ceiling than Kulik, Kulik is better right now. So Kulik will probably be better, and he's also in the AHL, so he's an easier call up than Savoy. So I don't know. It was a very exciting draft. I don't know. Do you want to talk free agency or do you want to talk development camp first?
We could do free agency. I know they signed their two right shot defensemen. That's something we haven't heard. So most of our defensemen are left shot. So they signed Eric Johnson to a 1 year, $3.25 million contract, and Connor Clifton, 3 years, $10 million. So what were your general thoughts when you saw that? I mean, I was happy to see right shot defensemen. I think that just made me happy enough as it was. And the fact that they were adding to the defensive depth, which is severely needed after last season, and that could be the thing that gets us winning games when we were dropping games last year. But like, what were your general thoughts when you saw those two names? I mean, I'm trying to think. Clifton was highly regarded when we and people were happy about that. I didn't really see much about Johnson because by the news cycle, I was kind of like out of it.
I think they're both all right moves. I just don't think they're great moves. I think there are better options. There's definitely better options. I think I'm a little confused because Clifton's a really good bottom pair defenseman. I hesitate to say he could play in top four. And Eric Johnson had a really rough year last year, but was solid the year before when the Avs won the cup. I feel like they added 2 5s at best. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that. I think
just added 2 more average guys. To the
I think I'll defend Clifton. I think is actually a legit, very good bottom pair defenseman. Like so, I think that's a very good pickup. Johnson's a little bit. I mean, definition of past is prime. But
was that the candidate for today? No, it's not.
No, but with the term of 1 year, $3 million is $3 million. Like they're not close. Like it's not like they're cap strapped. So I don't mind it. My confusion aligns with what is going on with the rest of the decor after these two moves. Like you have, like it's hearing like from Granato's press conference that they want to go 3 left shot, 3 right shot, and have partners on the side. But I don't like that because Dahlin last year was really good from the right side. So why would you? I mean, I know he's a left shot defenseman, but I don't think there's a need to put him on his dominant hand. I mean, I think he was pretty great as a right shot. So that to me is confusing. What does this leave Yoki Haru? Because obviously those two guys are going to play. You have Samuelson locked up, Power, Dahlin. I mean, that's 5. I mean, you have one spot left for. I mean, I think Bryson's out.
He should be out. If he's not out, we have a problem.
But Stillman's a nice 7th. They re-signed. I mean, they have a bunch of defensemen now in Rochester as well with Ryan Johnson, who's your best defenseman prospect. So like if Labushkin and Yogi Haru, I just feels like, and Bryson, like I feel like 2 of those guys kind of have to go. And like what are the markets like for those? I feel like there is room for them to add 1 top 4 defenseman. Them adding 2 bottom pair defenseman is a little confusing to me. Now, if Eric Johnson, I don't love the player right now, but I do love his first quote being like, when we took off in Colorado, it happened because Nathan McKinnon and I'm blanking on who was the second. I think it was Rantanen who said, started taking more responsibility on defense. And I think if you're telling me they brought him in here because I think he's the only player on the roster to win a Stanley Cup, if I'm mistaken. Brings the Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup pedigree. So Clifton also has playoff experience as well of Johnson. And also, like, if he starts pushing, like, if Dylan Cousins and Tage Thompson can, again, they don't have to be even, if they're just a little average to below average defensive, like, there's a huge jump from my mind from being, like, the 10th percentile defensive forward to, like, 40. If you get to the 40th percentile, which is still below average, but it's not atrocious, like
you're still it's an upgrade.
It's a massive win, and I think that's like if Ryan Johnson,
not Johnson, but Johnson's bringing like I'm reading this article right now about 1,000 games of experience in a Stanley Cup ring. So you're right.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's now one of 3 players that could get to 1,000 games, I believe, because I think he's at 920 if he plays in all 82. So does Oposo, and so does Jeffro or Boy. We could have 1,000. That's pretty sick to me. But yeah, I mean, if he's going to bring the veteran leadership, get on the young guys to be better defensively, then I think that's
a win in itself.
Signing. Clifton, I think, is a solid signing. I think 3 years is a little interesting that they're willing to commit 3 years to him. So it's kind of like, okay, you're going to commit to. but you're going to commit to Power and Dahlin. You already
Yeah.
committed to Samuelson, so you're going to commit to a bottom pair right shot for 3 years. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, now you have 2 spots. Ryan Johnson seems to eventually take one of them. Like, I don't know. It's just like, what are they going to do with Yoki Haru? I mean, just Yoki Haru is just
It's a game of Tetris. You got to find where the pieces fit when. I think that's how it's going to be. But it's funny you mentioned that stat: 3 players that could possibly breach 1,000 games on the youngest team in the NHL. Yes, I know they're the 3 oldest players on said team, but I mean, what a weird dual stat. You know what I mean? Like 3
Yeah.
people over 1,000 games, and they're on the youngest team in the NHL. I just think that's mind-boggling. But
I think it's been an interesting weekend change since we last talked, because I think for me, I'm like, oh, also Jack Quinn. I don't know if we mentioned that he's out 4 to 6 months.
well, we mentioned it now, so now everyone
So
knows. So
that's a huge loss. I mean,
yes,
dude that seemed to is going to take another jump to not just being. I mean, he was very good two-way last year, but I think he's going to take another jump offensively to potentially be a 30-goal scorer. That may be reason they're keeping Olsen, or just this market sucks. But yeah, I think for me, it's a little bit of a disappointing offseason. I think the draft is really good. I can understand what they did, but now I feel like if you're going to tell me Johnson, Clifton, and I don't know what you're going to do with the 6th guy, but you're going to have Labushkin or whatever and move on from Yoki Haru and that, then okay, I'll deal with that. But they had to make the move for Yoki Haru. I just feel like they added a problem with putting in 2 guys for like that. It's a little redundant, but whatever. And then the forward, like I think they should add another forward. Like you're down Jack Quinn, who was a top 6 forward for you last year. Like I guess you're going to see if Yuri Kulik is ready, and you're going to have Olsen kind of, beat him, and Olsen maybe split time. But I think that's a pretty big gamble. And then just the goaltending is it's mind-boggling to me that, I don't know, like the Buffalo News reporters are constantly be like, oh, this is fan-driven. You're supposed to report. You're supposed to report on the team, and like, you're supposed to report what the team is doing, but you also have to share what you believe. I feel like as reporters, like, I mean, we're doing it too. Like, we're reporting what the team is doing. We're also sharing our opinion. Like, you guys,
with the sports report, with like, let's just say news journalism, you're not supposed to inject your opinion on like politics or whatever. With sports, it invites you injecting your opinion in, though. Like, you kind of have to. That's how you create, I guess, conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
but this is to me. It's like, okay, you could report that yes, Adams. Well, no, Adams is strong on UPL and Levi. He's not going to trash them openly. But you could also tell at the same time, be like, this is a very risky thing and probably something the Sabres should look to add.
Yeah, they're banking on someone who's young and's already had a double hip replacement. I mean, let's just
think. And Levi was played 7 games. Like, yes. What are we doing here? What?
Yeah.
And a season, you can't. I just hate, you can't magnify, oh, it's such an important season for the organization to get back into the playoffs. And then ride with UPL and Levi, not find a replacement for Quinn, and then make moves that probably help you defensively right now, but then also cause problems for what are you doing opening day with your defense, because there's like too many NHL caliber defensemen and there's only 6 spots on your, and then there's probably maybe you're gonna say that you're gonna have 2 scratches. So
yeah, they're gonna just ride the bench healthy scratch and then just sit there. Like it's.
So I think it's a disappointing offseason. The draft is really well. Like they've done very well in the draft. The development camp was awesome. I know we're talking about that in a second, but free agency and kind of the roster, I'm not a huge fan of what they've done. Other than, I guess, they're just going to bank on internal development. Yeah, I mean, that helps, but we'd like to bank on a little bit more of some external organization help.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm all for internal development, right? Like, I truly am. Build from within, whatnot. Adams is a product of internal development. He worked his way up from the inside of the organization. So, I get it. But at the same time, you're right in the fact that now we're causing problems internally. And we're going to just have 2 young guys who are ready to play a healthy scratch. Remember how, what's his name? Quinn was, or no, Krebs was healthy scratch for the majority of the beginning of last season. And we were like, they had Middlestat out there instead. And that's when Middlestat was one of the worst players in the NHL point wise and production wise. Like put Krebs in. I'm confusing Quinn and Krebs for whatever reason. But I'm like, put Krebs in. Like, come on. Like, he's just sitting the bench. He could do better than Middlestat.
I just want to get what you're saying. Like, yeah. It just, I don't know. They just have too many NHL caliber defensemen. They got to move one of them out. And maybe I just think they should try and attract the most value in Yoki Haru, especially a guy who's going to need a contract after next season.
Yeah.
So to get rid of that would probably be pretty beneficial. But talking quickly about development camp.
Other than your meeting,
other than meeting my boy Terry,
mm-hmm.
Very fun, very intriguing. I thought a lot of
Adam's video, the inspirational talk he gave. He's
that was.
I was like, whoa! I was like, that right there just moved mountains. That was a good one.
All I had to say is Benson looked very good. I still think Benson's probably going to have another year in juniors, and then maybe he could make the roster in, was it 24, 25? But he looked very good. Looked like a top 5 talent.
Yeah.
Wahlberg looked pretty nice. I think some of the McCarthy actually looked pretty good. I didn't see a lot of Strippick. I think he was kind of eh. But, I mean, everyone had their moments. Jake Richard had a really nice camp. He was a 6th-round pick. But all I had to say is the Russians have arrived to Western New York. Nurchev and Nikorov, I'm going to butcher their names, but Adams in 2021 to get Tyson Kozart in the 7th round and Nikita Norov in the 6th round. What steals? I mean, those guys could be potential like a bottom 6 center and a bottom pair defenseman to get in the 6th and 7th round is pretty nice. I mean, that guy looked poised. I mean, he's also 6'4".
Yeah,
monster being. I mean, it was unfair to him to be out there, seeing that he's played 80 games in the KHL, and then Nurchev, that dude is an offensive dynamite. So, listen, very exciting for Rochester. You know, we talked about it 2 years ago. Quinn and Peterka. Last year they had Kulik. This year they're going to get some Russians. Maybe they still have Kulik. It's gonna be some fun time in Rochester.
Yeah, and whenever I think of a fun time in Rochester, I just think of whatever, I forget the reporter's name we saw at the one game we all went to, where some older guy was in Rochester and she just murked him on the screen. Was like, your career in the NHL didn't really work out, but you've been doing pretty good. I'm like, whoa. And I just think of that in Rochester. But now, like you said, it looks like they're going to be fired up down there. There's some serious talent heading there. And, maybe, in a little while here, we'll be looking for the French Connection 2.0, but it'll be the Russian connection, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the one's a winger and the one's a defenseman. But
never mind. We can't have that. But it's, something to think about, just how deep the Sabres are looking, because that's what, like I said last week, depth is what got Vegas so strong, because they could play no matter who was injured, no matter who was out. They had players who could play at a high level. That's what I like what the Sabres are doing. They have a lot of players who can potentially play. They're just very young. Like, that's the thing. And Vegas is a little older. Jack Eichel fit well into that because he just added another piece to that team, and a very good piece. I mean, he got his surgery done, and look at him. You always saw these posts in the playoffs on social media: Jack period, Eichel period, playoffs period. You know what I mean? So, or playoff period, Jack period, Eichel.
Too many periods
and too many all caps. Like, let's just stop that. But I think the Sabres are going to be trying to look to do something similar to that, in the fact of building a strong depth of a team that could, in fact, play at any level if they're needed to. So I hope that's what you need.
So going into our last thing before we go into the Funky Friday fun time.
Oh, yeah.
Goalie grades. So we're going to grade. I'm not going to grade Anderson because Anderson's retired, and
he had the highest percentage though out of the fellas.
He got like a nice B. So we're going to grade Levi, UPL, and Comrie. So let's just go bottom to the top.
Comrie first.
Comrie gets just a D.
Injury, I would agree.
He was kind of a guy that was a backup. Maybe he could have been a starter.
If we sent him down to Rochester, correct me if I'm wrong, he would have to go through waivers as well.
He'd probably get claimed.
Yeah,
but that's another thing. It's like, what are they going to do?
They can't do anything about it. Yeah,
we're not bringing that up right now.
No.
We're just going to say
we'll delve into it later.
Disappointing year. They took a shot on him. It missed. Shots fired. Adams isn't 100%.
Shots fired. What was that? I don't know. Yeah, no,
Adams,
it was
Adams
an absolute whip.
It doesn't shoot 100%. Missed on that one. So we'll see what he does this coming season if he's in the same organization. But yeah, he is a D.
I mean, I have no other argument to that. Maybe an F, maybe a D minus. I don't know if there is a D minus. I think it just goes from D to F. I'm not sure there ever is such a thing as a D minus, but like you said, just kind of there. Not really. He didn't really give too much. It was an absolute whiff in the front office. At first I'm like, okay, different goalie than UPL and Anderson. So let's give it a try. Nope. right after the first couple games he played, we were like, please, let's do something here. We wanted Levi to sign before his season even started. So, but we'll get to him. But yeah, UPL. I'll go next. Hottest of the hot and coldest of the cold. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll give him a C plus.
I agree.
Like
agree.
he had when he was hot in the black and reds at first, he was hot. Like he was like the save percentage was wild in the games. He went what? Like wasn't it like 40 to 45 or something like that? Like he was killing it. And then all of a sudden he would just let everything through. It was like he turned into a slice of Swiss cheese or grated Parmesan, as I would say, just plows right through. It's just I would give him a C. He was great when he was great, but really bad when he was bad.
Yeah, the highs, lows of the lows.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he stayed healthy. I think that was a significant thing, but he was far too inconsistent. Maybe he could find some consistency this year, but again, man, not really looking forward to him.
He would have to go through waivers as well if he was sent.
Yeah, not looking forward to him being counted on as a contributor to a team that's trying to make the playoffs. But going to our boy Devin Levi.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially with a young guy like Levi who's only played 7 games, we're banking on that. But let's just see.
Devin gets an A.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No
college season. Great college season. A little unfortunate, I think, with the stats because he really played one poor game against Detroit, and even with that, came up big in the shootout to get the win. So his stats of being like a 905 save percentage, saved 4 goals more than expected, and 7 touches is pretty good.
Yeah,
this man's a stud. He gets good college season. Came in, gave as I hit my shredder.
No, I haven't seen anyone play as aggressively coming out of the net on a breakaway, like way out of the crease. That's like Ryan Miller-esque. You know what I mean? Like that's right there. Darth Levi doing the meditation thing too. Come on, like,
and he's a Star Wars fan. I mean,
and he's a Star Wars fan. Darth Levi and Obi-Wan DeGoli. You know what I mean? I think those are 2 working names we could toss in there. And then he drew his own Sabres helmet for the black and reds. He drew his own logo on there. What a Chad! Like seriously, like come on, like
man of the people.
A all the way. So that's our player grades, and that is going to do it. That kind of kicks off the Funky Friday Fun Time. We had a little fun with that today, but I'm going to kick it off. I have both of them. We're going to kick it off with the Past the Prime Hall of Fame. I think we should permanently switch that. I like that going first, but this. I'm not going to say what he is. I'm going to have you guess, actually. Okay. I'm going to give you statistics and stats. Okay.
Oh, man.
71 years old.
Jeez. He's past his prime.
Past his prime.
He's got the life expectancy.
His first name's William. 6-time Super Bowl winner. Bill Belichick.
Where do you have him in the past your prime?
Was it a week I wasn't there? Did I miss it?
It was week 1, my boy.
Was it week 1?
Yes.
Oh, what a dud. What a dud then. Hang on.
I don't be like, who?
No, I don't know if I was there. I don't remember Belichick.
That was the first person not read.
I think I was the one who put him in there, actually. I think that was me.
I was.
Oh, was it you?
No. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. All right. I got to think. Tell you what. We'll stick with coaching, okay? You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to think on my feet here. I was thinking Pete Carroll, but the Seahawks did well last year with Geno Smith, so he can't necessarily be that. I would have to. Well, Shanahan, I would say, but he's not even a head coach anymore. That would be the other head coach I would say is past their prime.
Who?
Who's the Cardinals head coach?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury. Sorry, he looks just like Kyle Shanahan, so I got him confused. But that would be my candidate, but he's not even a head coach anymore. Did he get hired anywhere? Do you know?
I think he's working at USC now, if I'm not mistaken. But
can we induct him because he went down to the college level? He got downgraded?
Sure. Our boy Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury. We stayed with coaching. We bounced back. And now it's time for the Would You Rather. Okay. So the question is now, from a fan perspective, we're going to go this week. Okay.
I mean, we went off the board last week of food, so.
Yes. Yeah. We've kind of been off the rails. So would you rather watch a regular season game? Remember when we went to the Blues game for the Sabres? We were like 100 level.
Sure. Yeah.
Like right down there.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather watch a regular season game, courtside, ice side, whatever it is, right on the glass, right on the field for football at the 100 level, or high stakes playoff game in the nosebleeds all the way at the tippity top, like where we were higher up than that Bandits game against Toronto we went to see?
Probably the regular season game. I don't know if I could ever go to another play. Like as we went to this for example, we went to the Titans game and we sat on the 100s. Phenomenal
42-7. What was it?
game.
Yeah, 42-1.
41-7.
41-7. Yeah.
Phenomenal game. I then went to the 300s to watch the Bills Dolphins playoff game. Terrible feeling. I mean, just like I can't do it. I had to be able to pace. I had to be able to like, I don't know, just walk around and like.
You like the high stakes at home, you like that kind of a thing.
I don't like it. It got to me, man. Like my heart was like, I felt like I was, we talked about the guy who was 71 years old. I felt like I had a 71-year-old's heart. I was like, dude, I'm like about to like have a stroke in here.
It was it was tough.
Also, I just had to say this, and this is really in general. I'm not trying to like hate here, but like, there's just so much complaining in the 300 level on like every single play where the game actually becomes kind of unenjoyable.
200's down. I feel like you're solid.
Just like I don't want to be that guy, but like when like you're complaining about pass interference, like even as like a fan of the team, I'm like that wasn't pass interference. Like I hate being so negative toward the dude that's sitting next to me. I was like, dude, that wasn't.
Pretty much everyone in the 300s is inebriated. I mean, that's pretty much
they're all just. I mean, they're also incredibly drunk and like they don't even know. They're like, that was pass interference. I was like. No, pass interference. So,
where's the flag? That's all you hear from the 300.
Or the Shakir draft. They're like, no, he caught that. I was like, ball hits ground, ball moves, incomplete. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page. I liked sitting right down on the field for 41-7 beat down, even though Micah Hyde and Dane Jackson. I'm thinking the Bandits. Oh my God, it's been a day. Dane Jackson get hurt. Even when they're up 30-something-7, they didn't take him out of the game, but whatever. I like that more than because we've been low in a Bandits game before and they've lost, if you recall.
I don't know. No, they won.
Oh no, they won that game, but they lost the championship.
I told this to my dad when we were walking down. I don't remember the last time I went to a Bandits game when they lost. No, I'm saying that we're gonna lose. I'm gonna lose the next game I'm coming to. They're gonna lose, but they went 2-0 in the two final games I've gone to the last 2 years. And I mean they won this year in the regular season and I went to the Red. I mean I don't know, like I'm on like a 5 or 6 game heater.
I think we all are. Any Bandits game I've gone to, they have taken.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I wish the Sabres had our luck.
I know. Well, every Sabres game we've gone, they won the first one this year, right? Me and you have a different record than the boys in the box, our little group we call go though. Like the Red Wings, you and I went to the Red Wings game in the beginning of the season when Tage had the Hattie. Like that was huge. That was a good game.
I don't remember what the record was this year when we went to the 4 of us went to games.
No, I have no idea. But I think without further ado, that's going to end it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Callie, and I've been joined by Dom Loss. And Dom, how do you always end these?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.